Hello there, and welcome to Let's Talk Sports. Oh, hang on. Oh, thank you, Luke. Thank you, Luke. I do apologise, folks. Here I am. I completely forgot to unmute my mic, so that didn't help. There we go. Anyway, if you can now finally hear me, welcome to our live race watch along of the W Series for the Hungarian Grand Prix. This is the fourth round of the 2021 season, and of course, it's Jamie Chadwick from Britain who will be starting on pole next to her fellow Brit of Alice Powell, and then Nerea Marty in third position at the moment. Can you hear me now, folks? I hope you can. Do let me know. According to my fade, it's working, so sorry about that. I completely forgot to unmute there. If it wasn't for Luke, we could have had a whole broadcast there without you even hearing me, so that would have been very interesting. Do get in touch on a live chat page, folks. Do vote for who you think will win the Hungarian Grand Prix today. There's Chadwick, Powell and Marty as your options there, but also if it's none of them three that you think will win the race, then do comment in the live chat page your driver for today. We've got 67% for Jamie Chadwick at the moment. Great first name. Don't know what it is about that name. It's just a beautiful first name. Terrible joke, I know. Alice Powell has got 0% at the moment. Marty's got 11%. And in terms of other drivers, we have 22%. We're just waiting for the race to begin. It looks as though I think there will be a delay because of... Well, the car's only just finally left the garage, so I think they've still got to get the cars in position. And then, of course, I'd imagine they'll have a formation like they normally do. So hopefully it won't be too long from now. But we do have in front of me the live qualifying leaderboard. So that was from yesterday. That's when qualifying took place. So Jamie Chadwick, Alice Powell, Marty in the top three. Then we got in third Visser. Then fifth it's Arina Sedakova. Bruno Tomaselli in sixth for Brazil. Marta Garcia in seventh. Emma Kimiläinen, which I always have to... I'm not saying I take the mick out of her name, but it always amuses me that you've got it mixed in her surname with Kimi Raikkonen's first name and then Kovalainen, who were two previous Finnish drivers. Let's have a look at the others. We got Belen Garcia in 9th place. Jessica Harkins, our other Brit driver, in 10th. Vicky Pereira in 11th. Aya Agrin in 12th. Fabian Wallerend in 13th. We got Abby Eaton, another fellow Brit, in 14th. Miki Koyama from Japan, of course, her country, hosting the Tokyo Olympic Games as we speak. We've got Sarah Moore in 16th, Caitlin Wood in 17th, and all the way at the bottom of the grid, it's Saber Cook of the United States. So they're still interviewing some of the members of the W Series at the moment as the cars are leaving the garage. So it could be a while till the race actually starts here, folks. Even though on the... Oh, hang on, the live timing is up. I think we might for once have a live leaderboard for our W Series watch along. So do give me a moment, folks, because this is what I've been waiting for to work for us for such a long time. If I can find it, there it is, live timings. I will just crop all this so it's not in the way. Oh. Oh, hang on, what have I clicked there? No. No, that's not handy. No, it's done it again. Don't worry, folks. The race hasn't started yet, so you're not missing out on anything at the moment. So if we put that up for you. There we go. So that's your current live timings. Well, I say current, there's nothing going on in the race yet, but hopefully this will update for you throughout the race so you know where the drivers are on the grid. Ooh. There we go. Hopefully that'll help you. So yes, do get in touch. We're still waiting for the race start, so there is a bit of a delay. If you didn't know, we're also doing the Lions match, the second test in South Africa, well, versus South Africa in Cape Town again at 5 o'clock today. Of course, Lions won the opening game last weekend. Very tight game, 22-17 it ended, but if they win today, they've sealed the series with one game to spare. So who knows? Can they do it against the world champions again of South Africa? There has been at least 2 or 3 changes to that Lions team ahead of the start of the game at 5 o'clock from what I've read in terms of the squad being lined up. But let's read some of your comments anyway. Thanks, Country Beck, for saying the audio is good to go now. Thank you. And to you, Luke, as well. Sam Turret says, do we think that Jamie Chadwick will go to F1? It's been a topic that's been going on for a while now. I mean, she's, in my eyes, no doubt the best female driver in the world right now in terms of what the W Series has offered to us. Let's not forget, when they had the last championship, which was in 2019, we didn't have one last year because of because of COVID-19. They didn't have the series go on at all last year, so they've had a year out of it before they started this season about a month ago. But I think she's the best that can get there. I think she's their best hope to becoming the first female driver in a race, in terms of in an F1 race. But whether or not it'll happen, problem is with F1, it's all about money as well. So it's not just how good you are, you have to have that financial backing. And we know that with the W Series, the other reason why it kind of started up was part of David Coulthard's plans, but also you don't have to pay to get in. It's a free entry just as long as you can get a team that signs you up and that you're obviously good enough. So at least they don't have to worry about that side of things. But in terms of doing it in F1 as well, I'll be honest, I don't think it's realistic of Jamie Chadwick to make it in F1. I hope I'm wrong, though. It would be a great moment for the sport, for F1, and an iconic changing moment, which would certainly get a lot of young female aspired drivers to try and break it into F1. But as I said, we see a lot of drivers in F1 make it to the starting grid because of the financial backing they have from their family, from their sponsors. And it's really who's your richest friend, basically, that can help you back, that can back you up. We've got Gary Myers responding to Sam Turret saying, "Don't believe she will win, but great to see Caitlin Wood back on the grid." We've got Ezra Van Royen saying, has it started yet? It has not yet. There is a bit of a delay. Just as we started the stream, I only saw the cars go out the garage, so they are on the grid now getting ready for the lights out. I think there'll be probably 2-3 more minutes of delay until the race begins. So sorry about that, folks. I have a feeling it might have been because of F1 qualifying. It might have delayed the schedule a little bit because that was on not long ago, about an hour ago, which actually I didn't watch any of the qualifying, so I'm going to actually check who got what. Oh dear. Apparently Hamilton was booed after taking pole position for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Now, of course, I think Hamilton put out a post on Instagram earlier this week which was about LGBTQ plus and all that. Because obviously in Hungary it's a bit different there in terms of their culture. I think the country doesn't accept it at all. Again, I'm not saying I'm an expert. I don't know. I believe from what he posted, that's what I read. And I think a lot of the Hungarians, especially in Budapest, are not happy with him either going against it or publishing it, and just, stop talking politics and get on with your racing. I think that's how they see it. But yes, he beat Valtteri Bottas to a Mercedes 1-2 ahead of Red Bull's Max Verstappen. Verstappen third. Let's have a look at who was fourth at least. Was it Red Bull? So in terms of qualifying, Perez got fourth, Pierre Gasly fifth. Another great performance for Gasly there. I mean, he's absolutely nailing it. We've also got Lando Norris 6th, Charles Leclerc 7th, Esteban Ocon 8th, Fernando Alonso 9th. That's great for Alpine, that is. And Sebastian Vettel in 10th to complete the top 10. And as you'd expect, the two Haas at rock bottom, just behind the two Williams cars of George Russell and Nicholas Latifi. So that is pretty much your qualifying from earlier today. So that will be tomorrow, our race watch along. So do join us for that. I think it's a 2:00 start race time. I won't be on it, but it'll be Jack Price and Connor Porter doing the race watch along for that. If you have just joined us, we are still waiting. Sorry, excuse me. Whenever I down blackcurrant, I end up burping. We are still waiting for the race start here of the W Series. I'm currently on an ad break on the stream I'm using, so it hasn't started yet. Hopefully straight after this ad break. We've got Rugby Geeks. Hello, Rugby Geeks. Hope you're well. Saying, let's go racing. Are you looking forward to the Lions match, Rugby Geeks? Big game today. If they can beat South Africa, they seal the series. We got Country Breakfast saying, does anyone know if the W Series has a rule where the champion can't return for the next season? I think F2 has that rule. Not sure about F3. Maybe Chadwick goes to F2. W Series is essentially F3. And Country Breakfast also says that Mercedes went slow on last Q3 out lap. It was so slow it caught Perez out so that he couldn't start a final lap. Max squeezed out a lap but probably lost tyre temperatures so couldn't improve. That is interesting. I mean, if that's the case, will Mercedes cope with Red Bull race pace come the race tomorrow? Because, that's a different story. So I've got my stream back on, and it looks as though they're still on the starting grid. I'd imagine we're not far off now from the start of the race. Hopefully it's any minute now. Yep, so they're just showing the starting grid. So as mentioned before, it's Jamie Chadwick in the top two with Alice Powell, so they'll be both going for it on the first corner. Nuria Marti in third, Betsky Visser in fourth. That's for the Forbes Motorsport. Then Irina Sedakova in fifth with Bruna Tomaselli in sixth, and Marta Garcia seventh. Emma Kemilainen of Finland in eighth place. Belen Garcia ninth, which has been around her position in qualifying this year. Jessica Hawkins 10th. Vicky Perea 11th. Isla Agrin from Norway in 12th. We got Abby Eaton in 14th, just behind Warwind in 13th. Miki Koyama in 15th with Sarah Moore in 16th. Caitlin Woods 17th, Sabre Cook 18th. So, of course, compared to F1, if you're new to W Series, they have 18 drivers, not 20 drivers. But it's good to see quite a few fans in to watch the W Series after they witnessed some of the qualifying. But yeah, horrible to hear about Hamilton getting boos when he got pole position. So that'll, if anything, that'll make Hamilton hungry, even more hungry to win tomorrow's race. Anyway, we're about to begin. So we're just waiting on the 5 red lights. One of them's just gone off. It's come to the last light. So who will win the Hungarian Grand Prix of the W Series? Oh no, it's a formation lap. What am I saying? Here I am. I completely forgot about the formation lap. Get on with the race. So it's a formation lap at the moment. Ezra Van Ruyen asking, where is this race? So it's at the Hungaroring in Budapest. That's where the F1 is this weekend as well. Of course, they've made sure that I think it's 8 races in total for the W Series, that they are at the same Grand Prix weekends as the F1. Only 8 races, so that means they'd interfere with 8 F1 Grand Prix weekends. So basically, they're always on at the same time now. W Series is part of the F1 package, which, I think it's good. I mean, it only took them 1 season to deal with that and make the changes, but F1 accepted it, and then boom, here we are. I mean, let's not forget, actually, Country Breakfast mentioned about, if you win the W Series Championship, can you go back into it? Well, at the moment, Country Breakfast, we've only ever had one world champion in the W Series, and that's Jamie Chadwick, and here she is racing this season as well. So I think you can go back. I'd imagine with W Series, it is the peak of women's motorsport right now, if you think about it, until they might get someone like Jamie Chadwick in Formula One. Again, we'll see. I'm not very confident because of the financial side of things. Maybe the publicity of getting your first ever F1 driver in an actual Grand Prix weekend or competing in an actual F1 race will help the publicity with the money income and all that, but I'm no expert. I'm not sure. Sadly, there are a lot of drivers in F1 who just have a massive backing, and it's hard to say no when F1 is so expensive when running a team. Ezra Van Ruyen saying, I mean it like it's super late. Yeah, this race is, we're on the formation lap now, so it'll start in literally seconds as they're coming back to the starting grid. Jamie Burgoyne, hello Jamie, he says Shrewsbury looking good in pre-season, 2-0 up against Exeter City. Sadly, mate, it won't be 3 points. You don't get 3 points in pre-season. Well, here we go then, we're about to start. Just waiting for the last few cars to line up on the grid. And then we can finally get going for this 4th round in the Hungarian Grand Prix. So the safety car's behind them, so that must mean they're about to start. Get those lights going, folks. Helicopter waiting down at the end. Oh, and here we go then. That was a quick lights out, and here we go. And it's Jamie Chadwick in the lead. Clean lead, pretty much, going into turn 1. No problem with that. And, there's a bit of that was a late break there for one of the yellow cars. But no, all cars staying on the track after turn 1. So again, as I mentioned, there's the clock on the top left corner of your screen. That is your countdown to the end of the race. It's a 30-minute race. There's no lap count in W Series races. But so far, so good for Jamie Chadwick. Alice Powell in 2nd. Marty in 3rd. Oh, there was a bit of debris somewhere just there. I wonder if that was one of the cars going off the track. I didn't get a great angle of it. In case you are wondering, if you're trying to figure out how to watch the race live, it is on Channel 4, if that at all helps. That's in the UK. If you're in the UK, that's the channel to watch it on. And look, the timings are up. They're finally up. We've been waiting so long for it to work on our streams. About time. About bloody time. So as you can see, Chadwick 1st, Powell 2nd, Marty 3rd, Sidakova 5th, Visser 5th. I'm getting my numbers mixed up here. Garcia 6th, Kimi Leinen 7th, Garcia 8th, Tomaselli 9th, and Hawkins 10th so far after the first lap or so. And they're going down the main straight. Pereira all the way down in 18th. Agron's just taken over Eaton. And Warren's going completely down the grid. I think she's gone off the track. I've not seen her car. But there's team radio on for Warren. I'd imagine she's had a problem with her car. Yep, she's going into the pits. And it looks as though she's losing a front wing there. Well, she's going into the pits. I don't know if they can sort her out, though. They're going to show the replay here from the start of the race. Don't know if this will involve the Warren there, but not a good start for her if she can at all carry on in this race. She was missing a front wing. Oh, yeah. So what happened was that Warren went off the track after turn 1, and then she seemed to have collided with one of the cars in front of her. Her car went off nearly off all 4 wheels, and then lost the front wing. And as you can see, when she approached the next corner for bunker racing, that's her car. It had lost the front wing, and you know what that means. If there's no front wing, there's no steering. Or, well, you don't get great control of the steering, that's for sure. I think that is her out the race, though, because she's still last on the timetable and all that, but I'd imagine that is her out. So it's Chadwick still leading, with Powell behind and Marty third. They go down the straight again. Just over 26 minutes left. Just after Lewis Hamilton, of course, won the qualifying for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And there are crowds still there at the Hungaroring. Some of them probably the reasons of why you heard boos for when Hamilton got the pole position. We've heard boos before in F1. We had it when there was a time in 2013 when when Vettel won 13 races in a row. And because it was getting so boring and he was winning races by nearly like a minute over his second place opponent, he would basically get boos when he would go and celebrate the win. And it's not at him. I think it was just the fact that fans had enough. They wanted to see some real racing, some competition. So I can understand that. But when it's you know, I still feel sorry for the driver, because look, if they're doing everything they can to be the best driver on the grid. They don't care how boring the racing is for us. Let's be honest. Do they really? They're there to win, whatever it takes. We've got Sidakova 4th and Visser 5th at the moment. The cameras are on them. And that could be an interesting battle for 4th, because Sidwell having to be careful. Country Breakfast says maybe F2 would be good for Jamie Chadwick as the rule, because the series is so much more competitive. I mean, this is the thing. W Series is basically is F3 level. It's same cars, same engine. Chadwick's got fastest lap, and she's 1.3 seconds ahead. And her fastest lap just then was a 1:43.9 tenths of a second. Less than 25 minutes to go. But yes, Chadwick, no doubt the firm favourite to win the whole championship. Of course, the last W Series race was 2 weeks ago for the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Powell she's only a second behind though. Warren's still back of the grid, but I'd imagine she's out for good. I'm not sure. Remember to vote on our poll, folks, of who you think's going to win the Hungarian Grand Prix today. Let's have a look now. We've had 31 of you vote. Chadwick at 68%. We finally got some percent behind Powell, which is 3%. Marty at 16%. And in terms of other drivers, there's 13% of the votes for them lot. So 23 minutes to go. Chadwick with the fastest lap and leading the race. I don't know, actually, but I'd imagine fastest lap also gets them a point in the championship as well. You'd hope so, anyway. Oh, there's a race control message here saying turn 1 incident involving Whirlwind under investigation. That's after the collision she had. when she went off the track and then came back on and then lost the front wing after colliding behind one of the Forb racing cars. So she could be in trouble there because it was quite a dangerous move. "22 minutes to go." Marty still third. She started in third, so the top three hasn't changed at all. Of course, the Hungaroring, it's quite a famous track for the F1 calendar. I might be wrong, but I think this might be the first time W Series has been in Budapest. I can't remember anything from the first season of W Series. That's because I didn't watch it, to tell you the truth. Not much going on in this race so far. It's now 2 seconds the gap between Chadwick and Powell. Very quiet race so far. Maybe too clean, as to what some people would not want. And look what we're starting to see now as the main sponsors on the racetrack, which is Crypto.com. Oh, we've got another fastest lap, and it's Jamie Chadwick. This time it's a 1:43.7. Just as we reach nearly 20 minutes to go. The camera's now on Garcia and Tomaselli. But yeah, now 2.2 seconds. Chadwick's ahead now, 2.3. I mean, she's at some point she's in her own league, to be honest. Her first race of the season wasn't great. She didn't get even in the top 3. She was in the, if I can remember, top 10. If I might be wrong though. Of course, we got the two Garcias. We got Bellin in 8th and the other Garcia, M. Garcia, in 6th place at the moment. So we've got exactly 20 minutes left to go until the end of the race, and it's Chadwick comfortably in the lead. No drama really in terms of the first corner of the race, but we did see Warwind collide with a car and have damage to her front wing. And she's still on the leaderboard at the back of the grid, it seems. I'd imagine her car is still out there, unless they forgot to put her down as a DNF, but I'd imagine she did come back out onto the track and got the front wing added. Can she get in any places, though? I mean, she's under investigation, so even if she did try and get an overtake on anyone, she might have seconds added to her penalty. Kimi Lainen hunting down Garcia to try and get to 6 as they come down the straight and then approach turn 1. But in that last lap, actually, Kimi Lainen was 3/10 slower than Garcia. Don't forget to join us at 5 o'clock today, UK time, for the second test between the Lions and South Africa. It's now nearly 3 seconds, the gap between first and second of Chadwick and Powell. Of course, Chadwick knows she's still got a job to do. I think the challenge as well is that with W Series being pretty much F3 level, if you actually look at it, if let's say Jamie Chadwick had got into Formula 1 for next season, for example, which would obviously be big news whenever that does happen or ever may happen, we hope, but you kind of wonder if they'd be used to the race distance, because in F1 you're talking at least an hour and a half of racing, depending on the circuit and laps, but obviously the limiter is 2 hours. Now, if it was me, that would concern me because they're not used to racing for that long. I'm not saying they couldn't, but in terms of competitive level, they're not used to that, especially someone like Chadwick. you do think, though, if Chadwick wins this championship, then I completely agree with what Country Breakfast has mentioned. You know, maybe not F1, but maybe F2. And I'd like to see that, because I think you are still making an upgrade. You're going from F3 level, technically, but in women's racing, to F2. And I think for them to consistently be in the same garage as the F1 drivers is great experience, and you never know, they might get advice off team principals, F1 drivers, the likes, and just talk to them about it. But I do think maybe that is more realistic for Jamie Chadwick. So I completely agree with Country Breakfast in the comments on our live chat page about, you know, maybe she can at least go up to F2. I think, you know, one step at a time. Why rush it? She's clearly got the talent. I mean, she's nearly 3 seconds ahead in this race, and she's been nailing it with the championship again this year. There's still, let's not forget, after this race, we would be at the midway point of the calendar because there's still 4 more races. I think the next one will be in Spa, which is the next F1 race, but this is after the summer break. We'll have a few weeks off after this weekend. Be back in action come the end of August. But don't worry, MotoGP is back next weekend, so we'll be doing a race watch along for that. We don't stop here at Let's Talk Sport. So now Chadwick officially 3 seconds ahead, and Powell's still second, of course. Marty 4 seconds behind in third. Sidakova is fourth, 2.4 seconds behind. Then Visser in fifth. M. Garcia 6th. Kimi Lainen 7th. Belen Garcia 8th. Tomaselli 9th. And Hawkins, our other Brit, it makes it into the top 10. So that's 3 Brit drivers in the top 10 currently. With nearly a quarter of an hour to go. But do get in touch, folks, on the live chat page. What did you think of Hamilton's pole position today? What did you think of the Hungarian fans booing him when he got that pole position sealed earlier this afternoon? I'm sure, as I said before, it'll just make Hamilton want to win the race even more. And I'm sure he's won in Budapest like 6-7 times already in his F1 career there. So he'll know what to do to win the race. It's just whether or not the car will do its bit for him. Because he won the British Grand Prix, but that was because of what happened to Verstappen in my eyes. I'm sure we won't. Imagine if we see that again tomorrow. Oh, could you imagine? Red Bull would probably want another £1 million if that happens. .5 minutes to go. Powell now 3.3 seconds behind. Chadwick's just getting quicker each time. Still a few fans around in the stands after the qualifying, which is good to see. Currently a battle there at 0.4 tenths of a second gap between Belen Garcia in 8th and Tomaselli in 9th. I think there's more battles going on around the grid apart from the top 2 at the moment. It's nearly 3.5 seconds now of top 2. If you haven't yet, folks, and you're new to the channel, do click that subscribe button and click the like button as well if you're enjoying the stream. Really appreciate your support. We're less than 200 subscribers away from reaching 4,000, so do help us get to that 4,000 mark. Every subscriber counts. And it's free. You don't have to pay for it. I wish they wouldn't use that word subscribe. I hate that word because you'd think you're going to be paying for a service when you use that word. If anything, it should be follow. That's right, follow, not subscribe. 12.5 minutes to go. There's a pit stop here for one of the cars. I'm not sure who that is. I wonder if that's Rollwind again. But there was a few cars behind, so I don't think that would be her. Oh, no, it is. Now, is that her retiring from the race? I think with just 12 minutes left, I think she may as well. One or two Red Bull members in the garage still. Sorry, in the pits. They must be either watching the race or they're trying to do work in between the qualifying and the race tomorrow. Yeah, it looks as though Rollwind is gonna park the car up and retire from the race. The camera's cut off from hers though, so I'd imagine that is the case. She's a lap down anyway, according to our leaderboard. So it does say pit next to her. Yeah, she's gone. They've just got back to her in the pits, and she's getting out of the car. And sad end to our weekend. But in all fairness, I think when that collision happened, the race was done and dusted, and maybe they're expecting a penalty as well. So she's gone into the pits. And we do have at least one driver that'll be out of the race today. Hope she hasn't been crying. But yeah, as you can see on the leaderboard now, it does say that she has retired. So, 10.5 minutes to go. Chadwick 4.2 seconds ahead since we last checked. She was at 3.5. Absolutely nailing it. Her teammate, though, Tomaselli's all the way down in 9th. So, what does that say for Tomaselli? Because it's no different to Mercedes, you know. If you've got one of your drivers that's going to win the races, you want them to be up there as well to at least help them get the other points. But she's only in 9th. It's nearly 4.5 seconds, the gap. I'm sure some of you now will vote for Chadwick on our poll. 63% for Chadwick, Powell 12%, Marty 12%, and other driver is 12%. So looks as though Rollwind. I'm not sure she has been crying, but she sends love to the fans from the camera there. She went like this and then went like that, as in heartbroken. So she's clearly gutted with how that has concluded. But she's still 4 more races to go. And now all of a sudden it's gone up to 5.5 seconds ahead. Chadwick's just getting further and further away, even quicker than I thought. She's found her rhythm now. But there's nothing Powell can do about it. Powell's teammate of Hawkins, she's a fellow Brit. She's currently in 10th behind Chadwick's teammate of Tomaselli. Speaking of Tomaselli, she's 0.7 tenths of a second behind Belen Garcia in 8th. Plenty of time to try and overtake her, I think. Just close the gap a little bit more by 0.1 of a second. But if you've just joined us, it's Chadwick in the lead by 6 seconds with 8 minutes left of racing to go. She will, of course, with this win, get a nice comfortable lead at the top of the W Series Championship. Let me actually check what it looked like before the start of this race. I didn't check before we went live. Let's get the championship standings up. It is... So before this race today, I actually didn't realise this, but Alice Powell's ahead. But I think that will change because she is only 6 points ahead of Jamie Chadwick. But Chadwick, with that win today, will certainly help her out. Of course, Chadwick's only win this season. I kept thinking she won the British Grand Prix, but I didn't see it, to be honest. We didn't do a watch long for that because I was away. But Chadwick, her only win was in the Hungarian... Sorry, not Hungarian. It will be that if she carries on driving like this. But it was the Austrian Grand Prix a few weeks ago, which was earlier this month. So it's going to be her back in the lead. And it really hit Alice Powell in the championship, that Austrian Grand Prix, because she only got 4 points after finishing 8th. So yeah, it's all... it's going to be Alice Powell back at the top at this moment in time, and this is some statement. Even with her championship rival being behind her, I say behind her, she's 6.5 seconds behind her now, with exactly nearly 6 minutes to go. And as I mentioned before, if you have just joined us, we've only had one retirement, and that's Warwind, who was, from her hand signals to the cameras when she got out the car, she was pretty much heartbroken. That's sport for you, though. We've seen many heartbreaks throughout the years in motorsport. I mean, we saw it this week in the Olympics. We found out today that Dina Asher-Smith had a hamstring injury even going into the Olympics. She still gave it a go, couldn't get into the final of the women's 100 metre final, and because of that she decided to pull out of the 200 metres, which I think would have started tomorrow. I might be wrong, but no, actually no, it wouldn't. It would have been later on this week. But she was clearly gutted. She did have a moment of tears in front of an interviewer from the BBC, so just shows how much hard work they put into it, and then they do it for nothing in a way. That's the sadness of sport. Doesn't take any prisoners if it doesn't go well. Less than 5 minutes to go. Chadwick on her way to win 2 races of the season. Oh, there's a late lock in there. Not for the front row, but for one of the drivers. It was Eaton who locked up, and because of that, Koyama's been able to overtake her. But as I say that, they're side by side now, so this might just change again. Nope, it stays there. Koyama stays in 12th after the overtake, but that was a big moment then. It was Eaton with the lockup, and she uses the same car number 44, just like Lewis Hamilton. It's not bringing her much luck today. Yeah, they're just showing the lockup again there. Sun's starting to really come down, so it's starting to get quite... looks like it's getting quite dark out there on the Hungaroring. And there is a little damage to Eaton's front nose there. The car, that is. It's now on Sidakova in 4th, this of 5th, the cameras. Remember, folks, do subscribe to the channel. If you love your motorsport, we do a lot of watch-alongs on motorsport. We mainly do this, the W Series, Formula 1 and the MotoGP. Of course, MotoGP returns after their summer break next weekend, so do join me for that. That'll be next Sunday. I will tell you the times, but I don't know what time it starts. But if you subscribe to the channel, you'll find out later on in the week. Now, there's a race control message here. Turn 2 incident involving Eaton and Koyama will be investigated after the race. So that's 2 investigations we're going to have at the end of the race. I think Koyama's just being informed of that on the team radio. I can't hear what they're saying, but that's going to be interesting. I mean, both cars are not even in the top 10, so in terms of trying to fight for points, I don't think they'll be too fussed, to be honest. Not when there's no points to be lost. Oh, nice moment here. Oh, Garcia, has she got there? Oh, lock up. Oh. Yep, Kimi Leinen goes ahead of Garcia to go into 6 with less than 2 minutes to go now, folks. Chadwick well on her way to winning 2 races of the season out of the 4 that we've had so far. Less than a minute and a half to go. The only thing that's stopping Chadwick is herself now or her car. We've seen crazy things at the end of races in the past. Very rare though. They just Kimi Leinen got pushed off the track by Garcia, but either way, fair play to Kimi Leinen. She got back on the track and overtook on the next corner. So despite the she could have got angry there, she could have lost it completely and accepted defeat, but she fought for that, and I think I'd be pretty proud of her racing from that. That was really good to see. "30 seconds to go. I think Chadwick's just booked herself another fastest lap of the race, as the time icon's just gone next to her name again, and this time it was a 1:43.6, and that might be the fastest lap of the race because there's literally seconds remaining. So basically, I think once Chadwick finishes her next lap, or the current lap that she's on, she should win the 2021 W Series Hungarian Grand Prix. Well, here she comes now. Just as I say that, they've got, I think they're looking at Sidakova and Vista. Sidakova just having to hold on here for the last lap to try and stay in 4th place. Her teammate Marty looks as though she'll get a podium in 3rd. Looks as though Wood from Puma Racing is going to finish rock bottom here in 17th. Whirlwind, as I mentioned, technically 18th, but she will finish the race as a DNF. Or can she hold on here, Sidakova? Think she might just do it. But at the moment, Chadwick's just crossed the finish line and she's won the Hungarian Grand Prix. Comfortable as you like. That was like a Sunday drive for her. She made that look so easy. She started first and stayed first. Actually, I think I say that she did just cross the checkered, well, not the checkered flag, but the finish line. Looks as though she's having to do it at the end of this lap, which is okay. Maybe that's how they do it, where whatever lap you're on, you finish the next lap when the timer is up. That's the bit I've never really got. I always thought it was whatever lap you're on, just finish that and you've won the race. So yeah, they've just clarified it is final lap for her. But again, I keep going back to what Country Breakfast said on our live chat page, and do get in touch, folks. Don't be shy. But you do wonder in terms of, you know, how would Chadwick do at least an F2? I'd love to see that. I think that should be the next step. Not F1, F2. And I think when you've won 2 championships at F3 level in W Series, I think someone's got to give. Something's got to give. Someone's got to give her a chance. Because, you know, you're only in motorsport for so long in your life. At some point, you got to hope that those opportunities come. Otherwise, you got to really fight for it. Well, she's just going through the penultimate corner, I think. And here she comes now for the checkered flag. And it's a great day for British motorsport. Lewis Hamilton with pole position today in F1. And Chadwick on the same track has won the Hungarian Grand Prix. Started first, finishes first. And she will now go top of the W Series Championship. Alice Powell, her championship rival and fellow Brit, has finished in second. Marty in third. Sidakova fourth. She was able to hold on against Visser in those last couple of laps. Kimi Lainen in sixth. Garcia in seventh, just in front of Belin Garcia in eighth. Tomaselli in ninth. That is Chadwick's teammate. And Powell's teammate Hawkins finishes in 10th. Agrin 11th. Koyama's just crossed the line in 12th. Of course, let's not forget there could be a penalty for her because there was an investigation at the end of the race. Eaton finishes in 13th. Cook 14th. Moore 15th. Pereira 16th. And Wood is the last driver to finish in 17th, ahead of Warwind, who couldn't finish the race because of a damaged front wing and had to retire. A fine win there. There's another race control message. Turn 12 incident involving Kimi Lainen and Garcia. That's number 19 car under investigation. Not sure what happened there. That might have been when they were trying to overtake each other in the last couple of laps of the race. But it is a fantastic race win for Jamie Chadwick. And because of that, that is her second race win of the season. Her first one was at the Austrian Grand Prix, which was the second race at the end. Second race after the Styrian Grand Prix, which of course they had 2 races on the same track. So fantastic win for her. We got Country Breakfast saying, I think it would be key for Chadwick to get into an F2 team where she could align with an F1 team that has future opportunities. Which F1 teams would be the best for Chadwick to look forward to and try to? I mean, again, as I've already said with you, Country Breakfast, it needs to be F2 next. I think if she went to F1, that's too big of a step. I think you're just rushing the process. And I think she still has a bit more to prove to become an F1 driver. If she could do it in F2 as well, even just finishing second or third in a championship in F2, I think that's still good enough for you to then be considered perhaps for an F1 seat the following year. In terms of teams taken on, I think there's only one team that would give her a real go at the moment, and that's Williams. Williams have Chadwick in their books, I believe, or is it Alfa Romeo? If it's one of them, then I would say that they're one of the teams that would give her the chance. I don't think any other team would, depending on her performances, maybe in F2. But I think F1 teams would take her seriously if she somehow won the F2 championship, if she gets that opportunity. I mean, that would be some way of doing it. It's a debate that we'll probably no doubt talk about more in our future W Series watch-alongs, but that is the final race until the summer break begins. So it's a summer break for the W Series now, once they do the podium in a few minutes' time. We won't stay for that because we've got the Lions match taking place at 5 o'clock today in about 40 minutes' time in the second test against South Africa in Cape Town. Don't forget, if you've been in a cave and you didn't watch the match last week and you completely missed the news updates from last week, it is the Lions leading the series by 1-0. So if the Lions win today, they will win the series going into the third game next weekend. If not, if South Africa can get a win, then it's very much a very open series going into the final game. Anyway, my thanks to all of you. Congratulations to Jamie Chadwick. She's top of the championship after today's win. And yes, do join us tomorrow at 2 o'clock as well for the F1 Hungarian Grand Prix watch along with Connor Porter and Jack Price. Thanks to you all at home for watching. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, give us a like, and we'll see you very soon. Goodbye.